But dude, Superman's origin is Superman's origin. We've seen it like 17 times. You know, Batman. Dude, I said this here before. Ed, I never, ever, ever, never, ever, not in movies, not in cartoons, not in comics, I don't want to see Thomas and Martha Wayne shot again. I had enough. I get it. He killed his parents in the alley, crime alley. I got you, bro. Unless you're going to change some shit up where maybe they kill his aunt or his cousin or whatever. Maybe they kill him at this point.
Or stab him at least.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly. Stab him. Use a bow and arrow or throw a grenade. Something different. Welcome to Only Comics. We got a special show this week. I'm Mike. This is Adrian. This is Ed.
How you doing?
How you doing?
We got a special guest in the house, so some new blood for you here on Only Comics. So what we're going to talk about today is Secret Invasion Episode 3 drop. So before we even get into anything, we're going to give you what we call here on Only Comics the toe dip. So, Ed, it's your first time on the show, Ed. So the reason why we call it the toe dip is, you know when you're about to go swimming and you want to check the temperature, you ain't ready to dive in yet. You're just going to put the toe up in that shit real quick. That's what we do with this review. So this is the part where if you've not seen it yet, you're not going to get anything spoiled right now. We're just going to give you our score, our rating, 1 out of 10 for the show, each of us, and we'll give you some thoughts about how we felt about it overall. No spoilers, and then later on we're going to do our deep dive. That's when you jump in the pool. That's when you spoil everything. So we'll start. So for episode 3, I'll say, you know, this was my favorite episode so far. I'm going to give this episode an 8. What would you say, Adrian?
Man, it's getting boring.
Okay.
So my score is actually going to go down a little bit. I'm hovering around, 4.5 or 5.
Got it. Okay, 4.5. What about you, Ed?
First time around, I would say 8.
8. Okay. Ed's going with the 8. And what I liked about I liked that there were some twists. Again, we're not going to spoil what happened, but there were some things. There actually was some things that I think we may have predicted last week,
Yeah.
but I did not think they would happen episode 3. That took me by surprise. There was a couple things where when I saw, I was like, oh, shit, they're going there already. So I did like that. I like that we get to kind of see a little bit of Gravik's overall plan. We get a little more depth there. So that was something I did like. And, we also see a little bit more of another, I won't say his name, but there's another individual where there's a little teaser at the end. So I like the cliffhanger ending, which I don't feel like we got enough of that last week. And we do get to see a little bit more of Nick Fury and his wife and a little bit more. Some things we were kind of speculating last week I think have been confirmed. Again, we'll hold that for the end. But so, well, you know what, since you think it's lower, Adrian, talk to me, dude. What was bad about this episode for you? What are your thoughts about this in general?
I mean, I like the fact that it flipped from one thing to the next. There was, a couple of things going on, but it just seems to be slow. It just seems to be the same old.
Yeah.
I'm ready for the action now. Nick is, brushing off the dust and, doing some tumbles and stuff, some physical stuff. But it just seems to be the same old stuff to me at this point.
Yeah, I hear you. It is a little slow moving, and I think it kind of goes back to what I said last week about my issue with these series in general. I don't think they should be series. I think it's a 6-hour movie. Matter of fact, I don't think that. Y'all told us that. Marvel told me it was a 6-hour movie, and then you present it in an hour a week, or this episode was even shorter, about 35 minutes. So right. I do think that hurts it, especially from the standpoint you're thinking, because there's going to be slower moving parts of a movie, right? But when it's a show, you're looking for that action every episode, right? You're looking to have a little bit. So I do think that hurts his format. But what about you, Ed? What'd you like about it?
Well, I like just overall, it's giving me that spy movie feel.
Yeah.
So the progression from episode 1 to 2 to 3, I see where Adrian is saying is kind of, but I think it's setting everything up for a big explosion to happen over the next couple of episodes.
Yeah.
So I really like where everything is moving. And with my background with comics, my mind is racing in a lot of different places. But for the most part, I'm liking where everything is going.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Definitely has heavy spy feel to it. It almost feels like it goes. It's like a companion piece to Winter Soldier in a bit. You know, it's like I love that movie, but you think about that movie, dude. If we only watch like the first 45 minutes of it, it might be a little boring too, right? But it's like, but that's a movie, so we get to see the whole 2 hours.
Well, one of the speaking to that point, Mike, this is to me the most serious tone series that we've had so far. Because with Marvel, you have some comedic performances.
Right.
And this is kind of right to the point. The next thing, moving to the next thing, to the next thing. So it's a very serious tone to me.
Yeah, it definitely is. And Adrian, this is one of your critiques about these films. You always talk about that comic relief button, how sometimes, like, I forget what movie it was, but it's like they just held it the entire time. Now, do you appreciate that, or do you feel like it's too serious?
No, I appreciate how serious it is. But the thing about it is and also what pissed me off about this was that it was very short. I'm looking at, the length of it. I'm looking at, I usually look at how much has been played and how much is left.
Yeah.
And it was like the timeline was that, probably 20 or 30 more minutes was left that was just credits.
Right.
So I think when I say it's dragging, I think that last week's episode 2 and episode 3 should have been combined. And so to me, this week was just a continuation of last week, which made it boring, which is why I'm giving it the 4.5.
I gotcha. That makes sense. And actually, you know what? Now that you bring that up, if this was combined with episode 2, I would have given episode 2 a higher score. I think I gave it like a 6.5 or something last week.
Right.
So that is a good point. But again, it goes back to that whole, it's like, I guess that must be challenging, right? When you're putting together a 6-hour movie and then trying to decide where the episodes fall. Because, you the first 2, they gave us an hour. And then this one, I didn't realize, like, I wasn't looking at the time, how much went by. And then I realized, what's happening in the episode. And I'm like, oh, shit, they're getting towards the end. Then I'm like, look at the clock. I'm like, dude, what time is it? Like, I thought this thing had a whole another 25 minutes. So I definitely hear that critique.
So it's not a 6-hour movie. It's a 5.5-hour movie.
Yeah.
which they could have made episode 2, an hour, 10 minutes, or whatever they need to do, or cut out some of the fluff, and would have made it a strong 1-hour movie. But instead, they split it over 2, and it's crap. I won't say it's crap. It's not as strong as it started out to be.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm definitely going to name it episode 2.5 now.
There you go.
Because, like you said, if we would have put them both together, it would have been definitely the highest score. Yeah.
And you know what? Like, I don't know if y'all watch Stranger Things, but with their last season, most of their episodes were like an hour and a half, which was a departure from what they usually they're an hour, 45 minutes. And there was, I guess some mixed feelings, but I think for the most part, I think people enjoyed the longer episodes. They're allowed, they're able to include much more in it. So I agree. I think I would have been much more okay. I would have preferred watching 1.5 hour episodes. If you're going to do this extended movie format, then don't feel like you have to keep it to these short episodes, because to your point, it's like not a lot happens. So either you're going to feel you're bored, or you're going to feel like, well, should I just watch this and it just ended, nothing happened, now I got to wait 7 days to see the next part.
Exactly. And also, you won't get the comments about people feeling cheated because it wasn't an exact hour.
Right.
It was 35 minutes or 40 minutes versus a 60-minute run. And then how many more of these are we going to get, over the next three more episodes? Are we going to get 3 episodes of 45 minutes? Are we going to get 3 episodes of 60 minutes? We're going to get 2 episodes of 30 and then the rest in an hour. I mean, so now the speculation even about that is going to be all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good point. So, I'm sticking with my 8. You said 8. Adrian, 4.5.
Yep.
4.5. So I mean, so far I think I gave the first episode a 7. Second was like a 6.5, and here I am at 8 with this one. So we'll see. I mean, I'm enjoying it. I'm still intrigued. We'll talk later. We'll definitely give some predictions because, like I said, there was a handful of things. And we try to tell him, Adrian, like you said, we got the goods, dude. We know what's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Well, not all of it, but we're pretty good at these predictions. So if anything, tune into us just to get, some of the stuff spoiled in advance without us giving you a true spoiler. So anything else on the toe dip before we move on?
Nah, I think we good.
Cool.
Good to go.
Now, this segment, Ed, so I love that we got someone new because I get to talk to Ed and explain to everybody. So in this segment right here, well, actually, you know I'm a white person, right? I don't know if you could tell.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
okay.
sometimes my kind, right, when shit's about to hit the fan or they're being challenged or they don't like what you're saying, they use this phrase sometimes, and it goes like this. Newsflash, buddy, right? You've heard this. You've probably seen this in action, right?
Yes.
And you know, like, oh, they're about to say some shit. You may not agree with it, but they're about to speak their mind, right? So that's kind of what this segment is, right? So this is Newsflash, buddy. There's a lot of news that happens in comics, right, every single week. And we're going to give you our take. Some of it we like, some of it we don't. And we, especially me and Adrian, because Ed's, first week on, we're going to speak our mind. And we're going to give you what some people would call, Adrian, hot takes. I don't. I think it's just what's on our mind, and we're going to hit you with it. Some people agree. Some people don't. We've learned that in the comments section at times. So today on Newsflash, buddy, our first topic we're going to talk about, Deadpool 3. This has been in the news a lot. Deadpool 3 is
Yep.
Now, let me ask you guys, Adrian, is there another movie that is in the works right now that you're more excited about seeing than Deadpool 3 in comic books?
No, absolutely not. Deadpool, I mean, all the Deadpool movies have actually done it for me.
Yeah.
They're entertaining, they're engaging. Basically, rekindle Ryan Reynolds in the comic book arena as opposed to the Green Lantern thing that he did.
Yeah.
So no, nothing currently being made. I'm more excited than Deadpool.
Got it. What about you, Ed?
Definitely excited about Deadpool 3. I was pleasantly surprised about the first one.
Yeah.
And then, as you have talked about many a time, the first two are probably two of my top 10 movies of all. And that's saying a lot. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be very interesting to see how this dynamic works out all together. Because get ready, comment section. I think this is how they're going to introduce the X-Men.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I would say for me, from the MCU, I'd say number one is Deadpool 3. I mean, Across the Spider-Verse is still up there. Like, that's what I'm definitely hyped about. And then from a DC standpoint, the only thing I'm hyped about is Batman 2, to be honest. We talked about, actually, you know what we should do, Adrian? Because you said something last week. You said the universe agrees with you as to who the best Batman is. We should do this next week. We should rate. Maybe we go top 5 maybe, top 5 Batman actor, or screw it, let's just rank them all. Of all the live action Batman, we'll rank our personal Batman from best to worst and Bruce Wayne. Because there's some that I would say played a better Batman and some that played a better Bruce Wayne.
Does TV show count?
TV show. No, let's just do movies. Live action movies, Batman, Bruce Wayne.
You know where I was going, Adrian.
Where were you going?
Adam West.
Okay, Adam West. Yeah, no, I leave him off mine. But all right, so Deadpool 3, pretty hype movie. We found out this past week that allegedly there was a cameo recorded by Channing Tatum playing Gambit.
Oh, Magic Mike.
Now, this was, Magic Mike playing, but this was a rumor for a long time that there was a movie in the works, and then I guess Disney was the one that canceled the Gambit movie. Okay. It never really, got off the ground. We saw a version of Gambit in X-Men Origins, the Wolverine movie, and it was, I think the guy's name's Tyler Kitsch, or I can't remember his last name. He did an okay job, but it wasn't like Gambit from the comics, right? Now, I'm a big Gambit fan. Either one of you guys fans of Gambit?
Yes.
Yeah, what about you, Adrian?
Not at all.
Not at all.
He's a third. He's a third tier to me.
Got it.
Someone that you know about, but not really. Excited about.
Now, you've never really watched X-Men animated series, right?
I've watched some.
Okay.
But again, it came down to the art. Yeah. So I wasn't excited about the art, so therefore I wasn't excited about the story.
Got it. And I think that's probably why I'm such a big fan, is that was like one of my first really big ventures into comics. Was the 90s, in the 90s. I was a little kid, so this was like amazing to me, right? Mm-hmm. And I always loved the way they portrayed Gambit in that series, because I agree, in the comics he probably is like a third tier, What about you, Ed?
Well, and that's what I was going to say. And some of the some of the series that I've seen him in, he's a lot more powerful than he's shown in the actual the 97 series.
Yep.
So I've always liked Gambit from that standpoint. And then him and Rogue and their dynamic and everything has always been something that's intriguing to me. So, again, he's now I'm not going to say he's like in my top 25 or anything like that, but do I enjoy him? Yes.
Got it. Yeah, now I've always been a big fan. Now, did you either one of you guys like the portrayal of Gambit in that first X-Men Wolverine movie?
Nah, not really.
Well, clearly I didn't. I don't even remember it.
Yo, that's how you know it's bad. If like you had a major part in the role and someone who's obviously seen the movie can't even remember you were in there.
It was definitely forgettable.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I think I'm intrigued. I think this is cool. I do think Channing, at least looks the part, right? I don't know how well he'll be at acting like because, Gambit's from like Louisiana. He talks with that Cajun type accent. I don't know how well, Mr. Mike, Magic Mike over there is going to do with that, but we'll see. There's also, I read this, and this wasn't in the article that I pulled up, but I also read that Ben Affleck is recording a Daredevil cameo for this same movie.
Oh, wow.
Because if you remember the couple Daredevil movies Ben Affleck played in.
Yes.
Yeah, did you like those at all, Adrian?
They were okay.
Yeah.
Not really, because I never saw Ben Affleck as, he's a Boston guy to me.
Yeah.
Those movies where he played a kind of serious, like the what is it? The Accountant. I like him in that kind of movie.
Okay.
Him as a superhero, nah, not as Batman, not as Daredevil, not as anything really.
Got it. What about you, Ed?
Affleck, I liked him in the first
Daredevil.
Daredevil.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff he's done as Batman has been okay.
Yeah.
But I kind of in the same boat as Adrian. I love The Accountant. Like if that could be a superhero that he could play, then that would be a great entry for him.
I got you.
But he's just, I don't know. It's just he's been kind of type casted to the point where if I see him as like a superhero, it just doesn't translate.
I got you. Yeah. I think, at the time, because, I don't remember when the first Daredevil came out, but we didn't have much for comic book movies, so I think we were just hyped to see, like, a comic book movie,
Right.
And I would say the first one was better than the second one, but I couldn't tell you one scene out of the movie. It's been so long since I've seen them. And I definitely liked him more as Batman. I actually really enjoyed him as Batman. I think the material he was given was shit. But I think that, as far as looking the part and portraying that Bruce Wayne character, I thought he did great. He freaking looks like Batman, came off the page.
Well, to your point, I like him playing Bruce Wayne more than I like him playing Batman.
Got it. Okay. It'll be interesting.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Actually, I would agree with what Ed's saying about that. He's more Bruce Wayne-ish. Because he has that chiseled, perfected rich boy look to him.
Yeah.
But once he puts that suit on, it's just blah. No.
Yeah. No, I would definitely. I bet when I rank mine next week, he'll be higher on the Bruce Wayne side than the Batman. So I think we all agree on that. Some other cameos. They're saying that the original X-Men cast is going to be Halle Berry, Famke Jensen, James Marsden, who played Cyclops. That they're going to have a cameo. Which I'm assuming it's going to be like some of these other multiverse cameos we've seen, Adrian, like where it's just like real quick. Like, I hope it's not, people must think like you guys just get together once a week and bash the Flash, right? But you know what I'm going to say? I hope it's not like that shit show cameo scene in the Flash. That's all I'm hoping.
Or I hope their fate is a little bit better than Black Bolt.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, all right, Deadpool 3, that's kind of high up on our list. What else we got going on this week? We have, speaking of Daredevil, now, first of all, either one of you guys fans of the Daredevil show on Netflix?
I am.
Yeah, you've seen it?
I liked all of them. I liked Daredevil, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, definitely Jessica Jones, and The Defenders. I saw all of them, and I think you should watch all of them in order to really see how rounded these characters are.
Yeah.
And I was surprised and disappointed that Disney took them off.
Yeah, I hear you. What about you, Ed?
The exact same thing.
Yeah.
It's verbatim what Adrian said. For me, I don't know if you should watch them in a certain order, but when Netflix originally released them and what have you, they were just all of them have their own, like their own kind of pathway that they're following.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed Daredevil. But I'm a big fan of the Kingpin anyway.
Yeah.
Big fan of the Kingpin. Jessica Jones was amazing. Luke Cage was next level. And then the Defenders and Iron Fist was okay. The Defenders, okay.
Yeah.
But just collectively, yeah. If you to get a good idea, you definitely want to take a look at them as a whole, as a series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you. And actually, Ed, you've been telling me for years, even back when they came out, you used to tell me how good they were. And I was just like, dude, I was a little like comic book bougie, Adrian. I was like, Netflix making Marvel stuff? Psh, get out of here, you know? But you'll think that, like, the night I watched Secret Invasion, I think I was just itching for more comic book stuff because, again, it was, like 14 minutes long. So I think I warmed up popcorn by the time it was done. The show was over. But, hey, so I'm like, dude, I'm looking for something else to watch. So I'm like, you know what, dude? And then we're, putting together stuff for this. I'm reading all this Daredevil stuff. I'm like, let me check out this Daredevil show. So I watched the first 2 episodes, and I was like, holy shit, dude, how come no one told me about this? Well, everyone has, but I'm here, dude. I'm going to watch. I'm going to check it out. I don't know if I'm going to watch all of them, but.
I think you'll also be a fan of The Punisher.
Yeah. Well, that's actually why I wanted to start with Daredevil so I could watch The Punisher.
Are you a fan, Adrian?
The Punisher was,
I think that's one of the best.
The charts, dude.
That might be the best show they've made, in my humble opinion, because I'm a big Frank. I'm a big Frank fan anyway. Yep. And then was it Vincent D'Onofrio? I always butcher his name.
D'Onofrio.
I always call him the Law and Order criminal intent guy.
Yeah.
But he made me think he was a kingpin.
Yeah.
And it's really hard when you're, a well-known actor to transition into one of these superhero type of roles.
Yeah. And we saw him show up, and this is also why I was intrigued to watch the Daredevil show. We saw Vincent, I think, D'Onofrio. I mean, I'm probably butchering that. Again, we are not experts, guys. That's the thing. Only comics. We aren't experts. We don't work in comic. We're just fans that happen to have a podcast studio where we can do this once a week. So if you want to correct us, have at it. We don't care. So my man Vincent D, we're calling Vinny D. So Vinny D, he shows up in Hawkeye and plays the same character, and that's how I was like, oh, this dude's pretty badass. Like, so all these other outside sources are making me want to check out Daredevil. So I'm here for it, dude. I'm gonna watch it. But like I said, 2 episodes in, I thought it was great. But the news from the Daredevil, Daredevil Born Again is a MCU show. It's been confirmed. Now this is a long show. Like it's like I don't know if it's like 20 something episodes. They said for the first season, and the original stuntman, I guess his name Chris Brewster, he has not been asked to come back. Ironically, and now I don't know if what he said about the MCU came out prior to him not being invited back, if that had anything to do with it, or if that was him afterwards, maybe bitter about not. And I guess Charlie Cox, the guy who plays Daredevil, his one request was like, bring my stuntman, and they're like, yeah, no, how about no on that? So and then after the fact, he came out and the ex Stunt Devil, and he critiqued Marvel. He said, I think that now the MCU has taken over the character, I think they're really hurting it. He said, if you watch She-Hulk, they turned Daredevil into a cartoon. It's all animated and looks bad. I love the CG to enhance real movement, but if you don't have any real movement, it just becomes a cartoon. It's just CG, and there's no weight to it. And he's saying that, and that's always what made Daredevil so good and so visceral. You felt what Charlie was feeling between his performance and being in there and the action and a few other things. So he kind of took a soft little shot at Marvel.
That shit wasn't soft.
Yeah, true. Yeah, no, it wasn't soft. He pumped the jab out there a few times at him, right? And then he wasn't invited back. So I don't know what came first, but now we've all seen She-Hulk, right? Fortunately or unfortunately for some of us. Would you agree? Because I've not seen as much of Daredevil, because I'm still at the point where he's still got, the Scully cut over his head, and he's still wearing black. He's not even Daredevil yet in the first couple episodes. But do either of you guys, do you agree with this, Ed?
Not really.
No.
Just from the standpoint, like I said, I'm a big She-Hulk fan from previous.
Yeah.
So I already knew that the adaptation was going to be cartoonish, next level. Oh, if you remember when we were talking before it came out, I was like, don't look for this to be like what we're seeing now, serious or anything. It's going to be pretty much like almost come across as like a parody or what have you.
Yeah.
And that's where, and with the CGI and everything along those lines, I'm not a graphic designer or anything along those lines, but I'm like, it served its purpose.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, he's definitely bitter because I was listening to you read that. I was like, he's a stunt man. He has a lot of insight. He's got a lot of insight. He sounds like a more of a director or producer in critique and everything.
Is he trying to be my man Andy Muschietti? Adrian, you know it's been a week since we brought him up. My man Andy.
Right.
But what about you, Adrian? Did you feel that the same? Do you agree with the stunt devil? Or do you agree with Ed?
I don't give a shit. I don't even understand why this guy has a platform to say anything whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, he's behind the scenes. Nobody ever sees his face. I mean, he can be replaced by 1,000 other people.
Right.
He simply doesn't matter. I don't even know why he's talking. So, well, he can say whatever he wants to say. But I did read, and maybe he just said this as a kind of a throw off of, maybe his comments got him canned. He said nobody from seasons 1, 2, or 3 got invited back. So I don't know what that's all about. I really don't care. This guy is an unknown. If it wasn't for this article, I would have never heard this guy's name, would have never seen his face.
Yeah, no, true. Good point. And to your point of them not bringing anyone back, like I don't think that that's a bad thing. They're not doing another season of Netflix Daredevil. This is a whole new show. I mean, I'm sure there may be some things that, resemble that, maybe but I don't think there's going to be any ties to that Netflix show. This is kind of like, I mean, dude, it's called Born Again, right? Like, so it's kind of like, yes, it's that character, but this is a different take on it. Because, and I'm not, you guys have seen way more of the Netflix shows than me. I know they reference a lot of MCU things, but are there any direct crossovers to any movies or any characters, or is it just kind of its own thing?
It's its own thing, as far as I remember, Adrian.
Yeah, it's his own thing. I'm actually surprised that they're bringing Charlie Cox back.
I agree.
So so they're not excluding everybody.
Right.
They're just trimming off the fat and bringing in the star of the thing. I mean, I'm sure they will cross over into probably other things. Maybe there will be another Jessica Jones, another Iron Fist, another Luke Cage, another Defender, and maybe they'll bring those original characters back, which I would think would be a great thing. But there's no reason for them to bring all these other people back. They're supporting cast.
Right. Yeah, it's like they want to make their own story. And now with the way the multiverse is set up, they could easily just say, well, that Netflix show, it referenced, the Battle in New York and all that stuff, but that was a different universe. I mean, a lot of the same shit happens in these different multiverse, so they could just go with that.
Or they can just keep it moving and come up with some new content.
True.
I mean, again, this is the comics. These characters have been around for decades. Let's movify. I just created a new word.
Nice, movify.
Let's movify all of this stuff that the comic books writers have been doing for decades.
Yeah.
There's plenty of content. There's plenty of movie stuff that we can make out of, all the other stuff. Don't keep rebuilding or trying to, regurgitate old crap.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. So, new Daredevil, none of us care that the Stunt Devil's not there. Dude, no offense. We didn't know who you were prior to yesterday. And by tomorrow, I'm going to forget your name. You're not Andy Muschietti, dude. Relax. Andy Muschietti has his platform. You do not. Next Marvel news, not here on Newsflash Buddy. We have my boy Anthony Mackie's been in the news talking about Red Hulk. So Anthony Mackie starring in Cap 4 or Captain America Brave and the Bold. I guess there was a photo that – now, I didn't see the photo. Didn't you guys see the photo of Harrison Ford allegedly in ripped pants? No, me neither. But I guess that was out there. And, of course, what everybody's thinking is, why is he wearing ripped pants? He's going to be the Red Hulk, right? Now, didn't we hear a rumor of him playing Red Hulk at some point, or am I making that up?
Well, what I heard was he's Thunderbolt Patterson in the actual Marvel universe. So eventually, I think he's gonna be the Red Hulk.
Yeah. But we've not heard that confirmed anywhere.
No, I haven't
Okay.
heard anything confirmed.
Got
Me
it.
personally.
And I guess they asked him about it, right? And his answer was, he goes, see, Harrison and I go way back. A lot of people don't know this. This is our second time working together. He came down to Atlanta. They lost his luggage, so I gave him a pair of pants, but those are my work pants from working in the yard. Harrison, he's a curmudgeon. I've never heard that word before in my life. Adrian, you make that one up too, dude, or do you guys make it up?
Nah, I didn't make that.
Okay. Yeah, it's not movie-fi. So he goes, Anthony, just give me the damned pants. And I was like, all right. So that's what that was all about. He just needs some pants. Anybody buying this shit?
Nope.
You buying this, Adrian?
Nah.
No.
And again, I kind of don't care because I really don't want to see Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk. But when I first heard this I'm like, why is Anthony Mackie's running off at the mouth? But I mean, it's kind of humorous now that I've actually read into it, so it's not as bad as I originally thought it was.
Yeah. So here we are on Only Comics. We're making a prediction. I'm making a prediction that Harrison Ford is going to turn to Red Hulk in this movie. I don't think they're going to have him in it if he's not. I think, it's like, why? I mean, the guy who played this character, Thunderbolts Ross, died. If you didn't want this individual to be Red Hulk, why bring the character back? Because he's playing a political figure, right? And I believe in this movie he's going to be president. I think I've heard that in a few different rumors.
Right.
So you could have anyone play that role, right? Like we're watching Secret Invasion now, and there's a different dude who's president. So you can have pretty much any freaking 80-year-old, balding dude play president if you want to be true to what happens in the United States. So why would they not just, why would they just write him out of the story if they weren't attempting to bring Red Hulk on screen?
Spoiler-free content.
Yeah.
But I actually think that Thunderbolt Ross might be the vice president.
Okay. Got it.
I'll go into it when we get to the deep dive. I'll go a little bit more.
Okay.
My thought on that.
What's that, Adrian?
Well, the thing about this, I mean, to bring up Red Hulk in a Cap 4 movie would take some time because he would have to go through the transformation process, right? So they're gonna have to give him time when they're trying to develop Anthony Mackie's character into this new Captain America. They're gonna have to take away from that in order to have people understand the process that made the Red Hulk.
Yeah.
So I'm predicting that he might not actually transfer. They might allude to how he becomes, and it'll be one of those things like at the end of what was it, Eternity or whatever, that stupid movie. And at the end, Kit, he's like, gonna turn into like the next superhero or whatever, the swordsman or whatever. So it's like they're gonna bring him to the precipice of turning into the Red Hulk, but not actually do it. I think that's how they're going to introduce it.
Okay. What's your prediction, Ed?
I think actually he's going to be what Adrian is referring to will be kind of some of the arc of the actual Thunderbolt series, or is it series or the movie?
It's a movie.
It's a movie. So I think it's going to be kind of played out there.
Yeah.
And then it will roll into Captain America.
Got it. Okay. And I see what you're saying, Adrian. They could. I guess the only thing that tells me that or makes me think they won't is just because of how much shit they've been packing into these movies lately. Like, hearing you talk about it, they should do it that way. We shouldn't see Red Hulk in Cap 4. But unfortunately, I mean, go back to Doctor Strange. Not a horrible movie, not a great movie, in my opinion. Somewhere in the middle.
First or second?
Second one. Yep, good question. But the multiverse of madness, very insightful title, because that's what it was. There was a lot of fucking madness in that movie. Yeah, the multi-layered multiverse of madness is what it should be called.
Madness.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, they didn't movify that one enough, Adrian. But I really like, the Scarlet Witch arc, her becoming the villain. And then it was just a lot of these multiverse rules and things that were just thrown at you. So that's where I go. I almost, as much as I'm predicting it, I hope it doesn't happen, because it will be rushed. He'll go from, the president, vice president, whatever he is, to Red Hulk in about 15 seconds. And we're supposed to understand how, why, and all this other crap. So, but I'm predicting yes. You're predicting no. You're predicting no?
No.
No. Cool. I'm hoping no, but predicting yes. Up next, so James Gunn, DC, back in the news here.
Mr. Gunn.
Yes, Mr. Gunn. First DC movie is borrowing a risky trick from the Batman. Now, they say risky trick. What they're saying is, and I think you're going to like this, Adrian. They asked Gunn about, specific plot points, and what he said was real brief, but he said that I think we've seen his origin story enough in film at this time. Reminds me back to our first episode, Adrian, where you said, I'm tired. You were tired, bro. You were like, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of that. Tell them what you're tired about, Adrian.
I'm tired of rehashing all these, this history. Superman, Batman, Spider-Man. I mean, like I said, movies, when you guys put movies out there, I only want, a half of 1%. Okay, 1%. Put a tag when it comes to a point where there has to be an origin. Put a tag in the movie that they can click on and then refer to to the origin movie, so that you don't have to waste the time.
Video.
Yeah, bookmark it.
Yeah, exactly. Bookmark the video so that we don't have to waste time listening to this crap all over again, because it takes up too much time and it takes away from so much material that's already out there. There's so many stories that can be told about these characters. Let's move on with making the stories instead of rehashing the origin. Frankly, that makes me think people don't know how to make these movies.
Right.
Because if they just keep making the origin over and over again, I mean, we've done that. Make some of that new stuff.
Yeah.
So, so when I read this, I'm thinking about time.
Yeah.
And he quoted it perfectly. I think we've seen his origin enough in film at this time.
Right. Yeah, and it's like I'm not at the point where like I don't want to see any origins. I agree with you. I don't want to see the same damn origin. Now, if it's gonna be a completely, you're gonna overhaul the character and do some type of new origin that's gonna be different, I hear you. But dude, Superman's origin is Superman's origin. We've seen it like 17 times. Batman, dude. I said this here before, Ed. I never, ever, ever, never, ever, not in movies, not in cartoons, not in comics, I don't want to see Thomas and Martha Wayne shot again. I had enough. I get it. He killed his parents in the alley, crime alley. I got you, bro. Unless you're going to change some shit up where maybe they kill his aunt or his cousin or whatever. Maybe they kill him at this point.
Or stab him at least.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Stab him. Use a bow and arrow or throw a grenade. Something different.
Or switch him out with Batman Beyond.
Yeah, something, dude. But, dude, if I leave the damn Waynes alone, enough. But, yeah, I was definitely refreshed. For all the shit I give DCU on this podcast, and James Gunn, he's up there he's another Andy Muschietti, just had more success, But now that James Gunn's talking, I actually agree. Thank you, James Gunn. No more origins. And to this point about the Batman, I don't think it was risky. There was no origin in the Batman, Robert Pattinson, Batman, takes place in year 2. I'm good with that. I don't need to see him making the damn suit again. Like, am I the only one that, like, when I'm watching, like, Spider-Man Homecoming, the one thing I hate about that movie? He's not in the actual Spider-Man costume for a lot of it. He's in his homemade costume. And we've already seen him in Civil War in the Stark suit. We've seen him, at that point, Civil War was the only movie he was in. And then he did his standalone film. But I'm like, dude, I just want to see the real Spider-Man suit because he's already Spider-Man. So they had to write it into the movie where he gets his suit taken away from Tony. So Robert Downey Jr. can make $9 million and show up in the movie for 5 minutes. Hey, cheers, dude. Good job. I wish I could do that. But I don't need to see that. So I was pleasantly surprised, and it's refreshing to hear that. What about you, Ed?
I could give a damn about origins.
Yeah.
And you and I have talked about off camera about this a whole lot. I'm not really big into redoing the characters.
Yeah.
Create a new fucking character.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I'm just not ever going to be a fan of this person with a derivative to him. Like if you want to do 1 or 2 issues or an episode or something, okay, I understand that, but trying to rehash and recreate the wheel, that's absolutely asinine to me. So I'm not a fan. Now reading, funny thing is though, reading, took a chance to read the article.
Yeah.
after I got about midway through, I didn't even care about the whole point of this article in the origins. I just wanted to see an All-Star Superman live movie.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all guys have ever seen that anime, but it's really, really. Some people, well, it's hit or miss. Either you like it or you don't like it. But it's are you familiar with it, Adrian, at all?
Yes,
Yeah.
I've seen it. At the end, he basically, all of his cells kind of exploding, and he ends up going to the sun, basically.
Yes. Well, it's the origins of Superman 1,000,000.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, so when he, so I won't get too deep into that,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's the origin. But the reason I like All-Star Superman is because it wasn't any origin stuff to it, and he went on his mission. He got too close to the sun. Lex Luthor poisoned him, and it told his story in his last days because he was only given a year to live. And what Adrian's referring to, he had to fly into the sun. So, for me, I'm more now like with DC or Marvel, we already have like the basis, and it's just like we have technology and the internet now. We can go get your origin stories from there.
Yeah.
So I'm a ixnay on the origin stories.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, dude, the origin doesn't change. It's the same damn origin. We've seen it once. We've read it a bunch of times. We don't need to see it again.
Now, one caveat, like it's the Blue Beetle.
Yep.
It's coming out here pretty soon. A little backstory on that, but again, I don't need the 25 different like setups on the origin story. Let's get to the meat and potatoes.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And speaking of the Blue Beetle, that's our next news flash segment here. But I agree on that one. I'd be okay with a little bit of origin because I don't know much about Blue Beetle. This is also his first time on screen. Batman's been on screen, dude. Like, I mean, when we rain him next week, it's probably like 7 or 8 movies already, right? Like, Superman's got me. God, go back from the Christopher Reeves up until Henry Cavill. Like, we're good. Blue Beetle first time,
Right.
sure. That was we said this a few times. As much as we trash the Flash movie and Ezra and Andy and that whole crew. That motley crew of folks over at DC, led by Stephen King and Tom Cruise. They should be like their own group, right? Like, I don't know what we would call them. Definitely not the Justice League. The Injustice League, maybe. But we'd have Andy Muschietti, Ezra Miller, James Gunn.
The Ghastly Horrors.
Yep, the Ghastly. Yeah, there you go. Stephen King, Tom Cruise, a whole crew of them. But anyway, but one thing that I did like about The Flash was how they showed us his origin through some flashbacks, and it wasn't the entire movie. It didn't take up an hour. We didn't have to wait. Like, some of the worst thing, like, you're watching a Spider-Man movie, and he puts the suit on when there's 20 minutes left of the movie. You're like, dude, I didn't sign up to watch a Peter Parker movie. I wanted to see damn Spider-Man. Just like the newer Batman, one of the biggest things, and I love that movie, is how much Batman's in costume. I'm sure there's a website out there, but I bet if you could track how many minutes that, or what percentage of the film we saw Batman in that versus every other appearance, I bet it was more than any other one, and I enjoyed that. So Blue Beetle, this is another thing I'm excited about. The movie, I don't even know what the hell Blue Beetle is, but I love the fact that it's not going to be one of those save the world, save the universe type movies. That is one thing. As much as I love the MCU, we talk about Marvel a lot on this podcast. One of my biggest critiques is every movie, every film has to be the universe is about to just, be demolished, about to be defeated.
Right.
Like, why does every threat need to be this level? Why can't we have some stuff in the middle? I like the more, and that's one of the things that I'm enjoying about, I'm only 2 episodes in, but the Daredevil series is it feels a lot more grounded. It feels like neighborhood problems. It feels like, hey, this happened down the street. Let me go fix it. Like the old, like some classic Spider-Man comics, right?
Exactly.
Like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Right. That's what I was going to say. That's how Spider-Man became so popular. And when Stan Lee created him, that was his thing. He wanted a kid that, had problems just like everybody else does.
Yep.
He has to, even though he has these powers, he has to juggle life along with his superpower duties, just like everybody else has to juggle responsibilities. He's got to show up at different places. So it made people gravitate toward him because people could understand what he was going through. And I think Blue Beetle is that same kind of character, as Spider-Man, and he's probably going to go through some of the same stuff. I'm like you. I didn't know who he was until he kind of showed up on the scene.
Yeah.
But the movie looks pretty good, though.
It does.
I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, no, I mean, trailer was dropped, a few months ago, maybe. Actually, I think on our first episode, we talked a little bit about it. But yeah, I am looking forward to it. And the quote was, this is from, I guess, the actor, Zolo Marduena, I guess. Like, I'm probably butchering that too. But he plays, Reyes, who is the Blue Beetle. And he says that, we're not dealing with an alien invasion that's going to take over the whole world. Thank you. Or a monster that's going to destroy the city. Thank you. This is a movie about issues that not only Jamie faces and the whole Reyes family and the greater Palmyra city, all of us can relate to their struggle. And he hopes to highlight some real issues people face with the film. I'm here for that, dude. I'm excited. What about you, Ed? Did you know anything about Blue Beetle prior to this?
Yes.
Okay.
So my background with Blue Beetle goes to anime and Young Justice.
Yep.
There was a whole season done on the Scarabs taking over. Actually, it was almost 2 seasons, if I'm not mistaken, that was done. And it kind of mirrors, mirrored the Skrulls to a certain degree. They could transform and everything along those lines. But Blue Beetle is like a green beetle. There's multiple, let's just say they're different color beetles.
Yeah.
Blue Beetle, if I'm not mistaken, I haven't looked and researched. He's either the most powerful or close to. But he was the good one because the Scarabs were doing an invasion similar to like I said, what the Skrulls are going through on the Marvel side of things.
Yeah.
So, but like you guys, when I was reading everything, I kind of got the feel of the Captain America series on Disney, which at the beginning I didn't like, but as it moved on, I really enjoyed it.
Yep.
I'm good with not trying to save the world, little character development. Some of the actors and actresses I've seen on there are going to be really good in their roles.
Right.
So I've seen them in other movies. But I'm looking for, it's refreshing.
Yeah.
I'm looking for a different perspective, and I think this is going to give it to us.
Adrian, remember a few weeks ago we said to DC and Marvel they should run their ideas by us and they should listen to us. This is one, too, if they're watching. I don't know if they are, but if they are, maybe get Tom Cruise to watch. He can tell you all about it since he's the expert, right?
Right.
This is something that we want more of. We don't want every show, every series, everything to make it seem like the world's about to end. Because guess what? Y'all are crying wolf. We know it's not. There's not been any major implications since Infinity War. Nothing that has carried over a threat into other movies and affected the entire Marvel universe. And then you hype stuff up, right? Like Quantumanium. Oh, it's going to be the most impactful movie since it. No, it's not. That's a lie. They said that about Black Panther. This is going to end this phase. It's going to set the. It did nothing. No, none of that. Nothing about that. And now maybe we haven't seen it yet, but they're making make these claims about these movies, and we're thinking Infinity War because that's the bar now. Infinity War was, the universe is at stake.
Unfair, yes.
Yeah.
Fair or unfair, that's the bar.
I mean, that's your bar, and now everything else that doesn't match up to that, you're crying wolf. So please, listen to us. We know what we're talking about. We got 11 episodes in, dude. Come on. We know what we're talking about. So please, more grounded stories, less, the universe is going to end every 14 freaking days, because that's not true.
Right.
And more, so I'm here for this, dude. And interesting thing, too, so it's the 14th DCEU film, but this is the first movie that takes place in the new DCU, okay? So there's still an Aquaman movie coming out that takes place in the old DCU, so it really means nothing. Now, it's interesting that they announced this, though, because I actually think this hurts them. Like, part of the reason, now, The Flash was The Flash, but the other piece to it, if Marvel said we're scrapping the MCU, and we're going to come up with the MCEU for some reason, right? And they were coming out with one more movie that is not going to lead to anything else, and it was some silent. I probably wouldn't be excited to see it, right? But dude, I want to see the new stuff.
Right.
So here they are going, hey, we're creating a whole new universe, guys, but please go watch The Flash and Aquaman 2. Why should anyone give a shit if the story's going to end?
And especially with Aquaman, when they've taken that same character is going to play Lobo in the new DC.
Yeah, exactly. They're recasting them for other movies. Like, dude, I don't want to see him there. I want to see him here. But this movie, so Blue Beetle will be the first movie of the new DCU. So there's a lot riding on this movie, you know. So we'll see. And when does this come out? Let's see.
August 8th.
August 18th.
August 18th.
Yep. So right around the corner, dude. So we'll be reviewing this pretty soon here. So hopefully, hopefully lives up to the hype. I mean, and the thing, I think, yo, if people watch this, you know, week in and week out, they would probably think, Adrian, that we're like Marvel fanboys. But I'm not. I'm not biased to Marvel or DC. I like it all. I'm just going to shoot you straight. And if something sucks, I'm going to tell you it sucks. Lately, DC, y'all suck. Marvel, y'all don't suck as bad right now.
Well, I've always said to you, enemy, DC all day long.
Yeah, the animated movies.
When you move over to motion pictures, they have. I can't really remember anything besides Batman that I actually like the first Wonder Woman movie.
Got it. All right. I think that's it. Anything else on these news flash segments? Or we're gonna move on to our deep dive.
If it's okay with the stunt, man, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We got to ask Andy Muschietti and Charlie Cox's stuntman. We don't even know your name. We don't have a name here.
Right.
All right, you don't have to remind me this week, Adrian. I got this. Spoilers everywhere. We're doing our deep dive. We did our toe dip earlier. This is where, as I like to say, you jump in that bitch. So that's what we're going to do. So, Secret Invasion, Episode 3. This episode was all of about 12 minutes long, it felt like. But no, seriously, it was about 30 maybe.
Yeah.
Again, I really enjoyed it, but I do hear, you know, Adrian's critique about it being short. One of the things that we predicted, I forget, Adrian, did you predict this, both of us? But we said that Gaia was going to be killed at some point.
I thought Maria Hill was going to die, which she did. But then again, you know, Nick Fury died at some point too. But
He's died like 12 times already.
Right. So is Gaia really dead? Is Maria Hill really dead? So, you know, that's remains to be seen.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what the prediction on Gaia was. I thought that by them bringing in that caliber of actress, that she would be more prominent.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed that she wasn't more prominent, that her role was basically a gopher in the movie, and then she died so early, you know, in the series.
Right.
So she was unimpressive altogether. I mean, again, that was just like the last episode of Game of Thrones. They should have just left her out of it. Don't put somebody in there that's going to portray a character with such insignificance.
Got it. So you think they kind of head faked us because of the level of this actor? Like if it was just some, you know, Jane Doe in there playing Gaia and she's killed 3 episodes in, you wouldn't be as disappointed.
Right. Exactly. Who cares?
Right. What about Ed? Did you see this coming?
Gaia getting killed?
Yeah.
No. But on the, I'm just like Adrian from the standpoint of, it's like, why bring it? Well, I think it's part of the head fakes, like, because you got to remember, a lot of these actors and actresses are fans too.
True.
So just to be able to do a role or something, but it just seems like something isn't completely right with that whole situation.
Yeah.
Still thinking upon what it could be, but also part of me is like, now they're showing how serious everything is. Like, we've already killed Maria Hill, semi-major character.
Yeah,
we killed Gaia, semi-major character. Like, it's kind of showing that tone, and that's what we discussed off camera. It's like it could go this way and affect everything, or it could just be, like Adrian said, just arbitrary kill.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually, I think what we said, Adrian, was either Talos or Gaia was going to be killed. I think that was our prediction. So I guess, hey, maybe we cheated. We, half predicted. But I did not think it would be episode 3. I was thinking that'd be later in the series, maybe second to last episode. So anyway, going back to kind of beginning of the episode, Gravik's talking to the Skrull Council, and he reveals his plan. And actually, this was off camera. We were talking the other day, Ed, and you brought up the Super Skrulls. Because, we saw in episode 2, they were collecting DNA from other Marvel. Like, the biggest name I saw on that list was Groot, right? So somehow they have DNA from different supers, right? And now we learn that Gravik's plan is to create these super scrolls. So giving them powers. And we also learn in this episode, through another scene we'll get into, we learn that Gravik has some type of healing ability. And that does not, every scroll doesn't have that. That's something that he's already a super scroll pretty much, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So, he kind of reveals that plan. And now they have this another layer to their plan of starting this world war, is where they're going to infiltrate the Royal Navy and they're going to attack a UN aircraft, right? So this is a lot of what we see in this episode, which I thought that was cool. It was very intriguing, and I do like this whole war conspiracy, because I do feel like if it's done right, that is something that, no, it's not, I guess, like, are you talking out of both ends? I thought you liked more grounded stuff. Yeah, but this is different. This is something that, the way our world works, we could be in World War III at some point, and they're kind of, putting us on the fast lane there and starting like beef with other people that don't need to be started. And, the scrolls are behind this and they're hiding this and pinning on everyone else. So I do like that aspect to this.
So, what you're just referring to, I actually like with them attacking, using the sub to attack it was all set up.
Yeah.
I don't think they were serious about it at all. I think Gravik put the whole thing together to pull out Gaia.
Interesting to see if she was going to be on his side or not.
Because if you look at, I don't want to get too far ahead, but if you look at how things set up throughout the entire episode, he's laying bread. He's laying bread.
And he was suspicious of her last week.
And by him even confronting her with his suspicion, that was part of the breadcrumbs. Put her on her heels and everything, and then like, you're going with me tomorrow. He puts her in the car. She says the thing. She hands off the phone.
Yeah.
Like, I think I don't even, and that's where I was saying, like, this could be a little or nothing, or it could be everything. That Gravik is so mental that he would actually, now if it would have worked, he would have been totally okay with it, I think. But I think he actually put that together to pull Gaia out.
That's interesting. What do you think, Adrian?
Well, that's exactly what happens. He said that. He said right before he shot her, he was like, the Navy plot on the UN was instant. Well, it was secondary. The primary purpose of that whole thing was to find out who the betrayer was.
Got it.
And it just turns out to be Gaia.
Yeah.
So.
Got it. Hey, that's why we have three of us, because some of us, I missed that part too. That's interesting. So to that point, we saw in episode 2, Talos negotiates a meeting, or they calling it a parlay, with Gravik, right? So we kind of, this is something that started last week, we didn't really see yet, and they meet this week, and they kind of get into it a little bit. And if I remember this right, Talos grabs Gravik because he threatens to kill Gaia pretty much, and he grabs him by the throat, and then we find out that everyone else in the room's a Skrull, and they transfer into Gravik. Or are they a Skrull, or is he controlling? Is that part of his power? I mean, because we've seen superheroes like in X-Men where Multiple Men, you remember, I think that's his name, Multiple Man, where he multiplies to like 20 people. So, is that what, or are these just actual Skrulls that are imitating Gravik? Who knows? But basically, Talos is outnumbered, and then he stabs him in the hand, right? And then kind of leaves. And if I'm missing shit, go ahead and cut me off. But then he rips his hand out, and we see his hand just kind of fold back up like some Wolverine on steroids type shit.
So to me, that shows that he's been experimenting on himself, and he's the first Super Skrull. He may be the only Super Skrull, but he's at least going to be one of 3, 4, 5, or whatever.
Yep.
Or he's going to be one of one. And because like I told you last week, when I saw Gaia looking at I froze it so I could take a look. Oh, you
did? Okay. Who else was on there then? No, it was Groot.
It was Groot. Oh gosh.
Something Obsidian.
Yeah, that's Obsidian is from is it Infinity War?
Okay.
The guy that got his hand cut off.
Yes, yeah.
Groot was Extremis.
Yep.
And then who's the last person? Oh gosh. I just don't have everything pulled up. But the point I was going to make though is the original Super Skrull was derived from the Fantastic Four.
Okay.
Now there were some more episodes they did down the road where Skrulls were able to move their DNA to others, but the original Super Skrull was one Skrull that had all the powers of the Fantastic Four.
Got it. Okay.
So when looking at this, and I did see a screenshot for Gravik like today, but all of the powers that it seems like that, because like was it Obsidian? He kind of mirrors the Thing.
Yeah.
Groot mirrors Mr. Invisible, Mr. Fantastic, and Extremis is Johnny Blaze.
Yeah.
And so that's from that standpoint. Yeah, I saw that, but I think more Skrulls are coming down. Either he's going to be the only one, or they're going to be, like I said, a little army or what have you.
So you think he's already a Super Skrull?
He's already a Super Skrull. It just hasn't completely came out yet, and he's very. If you haven't noticed, he's very art of war, very strategic in everything he does.
Oh yeah, I like his character. We were talking about it, a couple weeks ago, Adrian. I like his character. I think it's good, and I like that we don't know everything yet. We get on some of these movies like they didn't like. We don't talk about Star Wars a lot, but like the Book of Boba Fett, I don't need to know Boba Fett's background. What intrigues me about that character is the unknown. Han Solo.
Perfect.
I don't want to know about Han Solo. I want him to be this mysterious. And they tell you everything, right? It's like that, and even Wolverine to an extent. I love Wolverine as a character, but I almost liked him more when we didn't know so much, right? Like. So I love that intrigue about Gravik that we don't like. We know he's evil, but we don't know how evil. And I feel like each episode we learn a little bit more, like to the point of him just shooting Gaia like she's just some rabid dog on the street, like and then he leaves her there and just drives off like someone's got to clean this shit up,
Right.
What about Adrian? Do you like the whole Nick Fury Talos dynamic? Like we saw last week, they kind of split up, right? They had their falling out. And now Fury's back, which I do have to say this. I love that they got rid of most of the fake beard because for the love of God, I couldn't, like, we're doing a serious scene, right? Like, and I'm supposed to be bought in and immerse myself in this video, and they have this shitty-ass fake beard that looks like they shaved the sheep and just fucking glued the shit to Samuel L. Jackson's face. And I've seen Samuel L. Jackson with a beard. He's got a decent beard. Just let him wear his. Like, dude, Adrian, you could lend him. We could CGI your beard onto his. Like, now, if anyone asks, that's not a fake beard, right, Adrian? You grew that yourself.
No,
you didn't shave a fucking sheep and glue it to your face like they did at Marvel.
Didn't color it either.
No, didn't color it either. That's natural. But how do you feel about this whole Talos, Fury, and any predictions on where you think this is going to go? Like, we see them kind of come back together. Talos is still upset, butthurt, whatever you want to say about last week. Talos didn't like Nick Fury killing a Skrull. He didn't like, he felt like he's been lied to. And then Fury felt like, Talos kind of betrayed him by having a million Skrulls show up and not tell him. But also Nick Fury and your favorite superhero, Carol Danvers, Adrian, they were supposed to find a new world for the Skrulls, but now we're going on 30 years later. They still did. Maybe they're still looking for one. I don't know. But what do you like their dynamic, and where do you think that's going?
I like the dynamic in that if it didn't exist, there wouldn't be a storyline.
Yeah. To
be quite honest,
True.
I mean that seems to be the basis for this entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
Them two, fighting and then kissing and making up and then fighting and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
It's interesting going back to the scene where Gravik and Talos is in that little lunchroom thing. It's interesting. Speaking about how strategic Gravik is, that he allowed Talos to disrespect him as much as he did. I mean, stabbed him in his hand, got up and started choking the shit out of him in front of his whole crew. I mean, that takes some calculation. So I don't know why he did that. Maybe we'll find out later.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't have popped off in my head.
No.
But definitely with the pulling the hand back and healing, he's at least doing some experimenting on himself. And like Ed said, maybe he'll be the only one, and he should be. There was only one original Skrull.
Agreed.
Let it start out with the one first, and then we can get into all the other stuff. But I also like the fact that Talos kind of schooled Nick on, listen, if it wasn't for us doing your undercover work, you wouldn't be the Fury that everybody knows and are in fear today. So calm your shit down, you know, because in the back end, we help you build you.
Right. Yeah, no, absolutely. And they even make mention of I forget the guy's name, but he was in Black Widow. And they made mention of basically helping S.H.I.E.L.D. find this guy or whatnot.
Is it Markov or
something like that? Yeah. And I'll forget the guy's name. But yeah, to your point, so a lot of this stuff that we've seen, basically what they're telling us is the Skrulls. We know they've been here the whole time now, but now we know they've been a lot more involved than we thought. And we still don't know, how many or if any of these Avengers or other characters that we've seen over the screen or on the screen for years, if any of them are Skrulls. We don't know yet. I'm sure there's going to be a couple that pop up.
I read on that. I read somewhere that I think last week we talked about whether Don Cheadle's character was a Skrull.
Yep.
And they're saying that, yes, he is, and he has been for some years. And what's happening is it appears that the longer a Skrull is in a human suit,
Yep.
the harder it is to detect whether they are Skrulls or not.
Okay.
So I think your prediction, Mike, that Rhodey is somewhere in that warehouse hooked up to the machines is probably true. And this guy is walking around. He's already a Skrull.
Yep. What'd you say? My prediction? Another one. We need DJ Khaled up in here. Another one. That's just what we do. We just predict everything.
Right.
We know what's going to happen before it happens. Right. But yeah, I'm still sticking to that prediction. And when we get into the end of this episode, I think it will solidify that more. But yeah, I do think that Rhodey's a Skrull. Now, how long has he been a Skrull? I don't know. Now, okay, here's one. When Rhodey was shot and lost the use of his legs, was that human Rhodey or is that Skrull Rhodey?
I don't know the answer to that, but that's possible when the Skrull took over. Because if he got shot and lost the use of his legs, what's the likelihood that he ever got the use of his legs back?
Yeah.
So they probably took that as an opportunity to take over, right?
Right.
So doing some miraculous regeneration of whatever caused him to lose the use of his legs and tucked him away nicely in a box, in that warehouse. And then that's when the Skrull came out.
It's like a giant Wi-Fi router. Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
Right? They just hook them all up and you could just shoot their consciousness out. But yeah, we saw, I think in the end, because that was Civil War when he got shot out of the air by Vision. At the end of that movie, we see him with like those braces on his legs, learning to walk again. And then we just see him in the future, like walking perfectly fine. And we've not seen his legs forever because he's always in the suit or now in the, the presidential type suit. So what about you, Ed? What do you think about Rhodey? You think he's a Skrull?
Well, if you remember, what did I tell you after the first episode off camera? Yes.
Yeah.
And I'll put piece together. I think he's been a Skrull since Iron Man 3.
Okay.
I'm going that far back.
Yeah.
And the reason why is I think he is the person that also has gathered up all of the that gathered up the stuff for to create the Super Skrull.
Yep.
Because who has the most access to those types of crime scenes or whatever you want to call it? Rhodey is going to be the one that has that access to everything.
I agree with that.
And also the interaction, I think it was the first episode where I was watching him deal with the president who, spoiler alert, I think is going to get assassinated. And then that's how Thunderbolt Patterson becomes Ross. Thunderbolt Ross becomes the president.
Yeah.
But I think he's been a Skrull all of this time. Whereas I kind of thought maybe the president may have had something to do with it. When I saw the British Prime Minister, I was like, they're not going to make all the world leaders Skrulls, so take them out. And then, we'll refer to I see you picked up on the same thing at the end of the episode as well, too.
Yep.
So I think, he's off on some planet somewhere with that little bolt going through his head. And I think that once we get to the end of this series, that's going to be the thing that jumps us into Armor Wars.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, we got Armor Wars, which who is he at war for? Because what I've heard about that series, or that now it's a movie, is basically they're fighting over the Iron Man suit. Mm-hmm. Well, Rhodey's with the government, so he should have control of that. But maybe that's not the real Rhodey. Maybe he's coming. So, or who knows? Maybe there'll be Skrulls in that too, because this is supposed to lead right into that. So, anyways, the plot, the plan of this Royal Navy, who's going to attack, the UN. Go ahead.
Hey, can I make one more point? Because I really enjoyed this, and I would love to hear y'all guys' comments on it. So, before the sit down, Gravik's diatribe that he went on when he was talking about the World War I. Peyton, are you a World War One? Do you know anything about that history, Adrian? Because I know you follow Art of War. Well, World War One was started because a bunch of rich people wanted to keep living the way that they live. Henceforth, we pretty much have got now.
Right.
But that's how it. And if you notice, like for me, Talos and I agree with Adrian. Talos and Fury's interaction, one, I think is some of the best, the deepest, most intense interactions ever in the MCU because of the ramifications from it. Yeah. Like, again, if you listen to their story, S.H.I.E.L.D. is not created without the Skrulls.
Right.
I actually have another little piece that I've been kind of thinking about as well, too. I think that some Skrulls, or I think the Skrulls may be Hydra. So because I actually think that they could have been here longer than 95, because again, and I just kind of, like I said, put myself in their position. Like, I would be like Gravik. You promised us, and you have all this technology. You have basically the Infinity Stones, and you can't find us a place to live in freaking 30. This is taking place in 2025, right? So 30 years. Like, basically, I started as a child. Now I'm almost a middle-aged man, and you still haven't been able to. And then when Fury came back after the blip, he went right up there. He went to the space station. Yeah. So if you think about, like, if somebody came and tried to take over our planet, I would have a lot of animosity. So I do follow history a lot, the World Wars. Yeah. So when he was making a lot of references back in there, he was really telling the story of like how soldiers felt in the first war, and and it just really, really a good, like, it was my second favorite scene besides watching Rhodey and Samuel L. Jackson last week talk face to face.
I agree. It was good. That's interesting. Hydra being, dude, right at this point we have no idea. Anyone could be a damn Skrull.
Right.
All right, so we do find Gaia sending Talos some information, right? She's got this little, like, burner phone, and that's pretty much where she screws herself, right? Because that's how he ends up finding out. Gravik does, but they go to this Navy guy's house, who's like literally got the the damn whatever it's called, the push button in his like room and shit, like, right? Like, he's just dude, his son's over there hanging out. He's about to bomb a freaking plane. Like, he's watching Netflix in his room. That was interesting. Like, I'm pretty sure it'd be a little safer than that. I mean, dude, the kid could just walk up and press the button by mistake. But again, Stevie, we got it. So this.
But I mean, that's the part also that pisses me off too, because it's like, Gravik is pissed off that 30 years later, they didn't find an entire race of people, entire planet to go live on, but with all the technology that they have, they could have also did due diligence and did some shit for themselves.
Right.
You sitting back for 30 years with all the stuff that you're on, and you're gonna turn this internal pain into genocide, basically. And then, but that's also parallels how a lot of people in the world think today. Anyway, you owe me something, or you promised me something, but because you didn't deliver, I'm gonna wipe out you and everything that there is about you.
Yeah.
And because I want my point to come across, and I think that's ridiculous.
I definitely not saying it's rational. It's definitely on the Killmonger side of things, but it definitely makes him a character that you do have some sort of like sympathy for.
Yeah, absolutely. And we get to this kind of interrogation. Like, they're trying to find out. He's already called in the strike, right? And even like the people on the Royal Navy ship, they're like questioning it, like, dude, what are you talking about? And the other guy is like, dude, we got this call from above, like, do it. But there's of course there's a code word, right, that could call this whole thing off. They're interrogating this guy. He won't give it up. And it gets to the point where Talos kind of figures it out, it's his son or whatnot, but he kills the guy. And this dude's a Skrull. And we just saw in the last episode how pissed Talos got at Nick Fury for killing his Skrull. So do you think, Adrian, that Talos knew this guy was a Skrull before he pulled the trigger? Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Not only, I mean, if going a little further at the end when they're dumping his body in the van, they also dumped him next to his son.
Mm-hmm.
So did they take his son out too, or did they just knock him out? So that was like a little killing spree there if they killed the son as well.
So Talos is now on the other side of it, where he's okay killing Skrulls if it's for the cause, I guess.
Dude, I don't know. This stuff is going to be it's going to be Nick Fury and Talos is like a marriage.
Yeah.
You know, some things are so complicated, and they're going to fight about them. Some things are so simplistic. They're going to fight them about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see this kind of dynamic throughout the whole series.
I'm having a brain fart. Speaking of wifey, wasn't the wife? Didn't he meet up with his wife at the beginning?
Oh yeah, you know what? Going back to the beginning of the episode, we do see a flashback because this was our question last week where we weren't sure of, because last episode 2, we see Nick Fury show up at his house. We realize he has a wife, but she's a Skrull. So we're going like, does he know? Does he not? But I think now we answered our question. He obviously knows because we see their original meeting.
And I shared with you off camera last week that I thought that he knew, because how nonchalant that she was with everything. Because why would even I know they're doing a series and we're watching it, but why would they reveal her like that so simply at the beginning if he didn't already know?
Right.
And then can you not see Nick Fury married to an alien? Like I would, if he was married to a human, I would feel that was kind of weird.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Nick Fury.
I can answer why they did that, Ed, because last episode they didn't have a real cliffhanger, so they wanted to create one. So let's just tease the audience and show her as a Skrull, but not show her as a Skrull in front of Nick Fury, so they can think about it for 7 days, because we didn't have another cliffhanger because we're making a damn movie into shows. So that's why, in my opinion.
Like
so
I
we got you figured out,
Marvel. 5.
Yeah. And
now we got another cliffhanger because who's pulling. I think her name is Barbara, the character. She Nick Fury's wife. His name is Barbara. I think
Priscilla.
Anyway, now
Priscilla.
Yeah, okay,
Priscilla.
Barbara, Priscilla.
Yeah, same difference.
Who's pulling her strings.
Right.
So now we got another cliffhanger. So she goes to the bank. There's a deposit box. Don't think that's in it is a gun.
Yep.
And she gets a phone call. So. She's got her own little cloak and dagger stuff going on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Right before that scene, though, we see what we opened with, where, Gaia's running away. Of course, she gets on a motorcycle, right? Let's get a fucking motorcycle that makes more noise than any other car that we have here, and let me try my escape on the motorcycle in the middle of the night, because why not, right? And then she happens to run right into Gravik, and dude, he just, without hesitation, has got the gun. And then he wanted her to turn around or something, and she's like, no, look at me. He's like, okay, and just pops her like nothing, keeps it moving. So to your point, Ed, about Gravik, we get to see, like, as much as there's some aspects of his mission that we can understand, right? Like, hey, you guys promised me this, you didn't deliver. But to your point, Adrian, everyone's so, like, hey, needy, or they expect it, right? Like, they expect you to, you told me you'd give me lunch, Ed, but I want you to take me to this 5-star restaurant, give me a steak, give me all this. Because, like, dude, I didn't say all that. Well, slow down. And then if you don't do that, then I'm going to kill you and your family. Like, that's drastic. And we get to see that, both sides. Yes, I understand Gravik's issue, but this is probably not the best way to go about it. And, dude, he can't, like, are you fighting for Skrulls? Because you'll kill a Skrull in a minute without even thinking about it. And that's kind of where Talos' struggle has been, right?
So, so I guess to that degree for me, that's where, like Gravik is totally insane.
Yeah.
Like totally, like so insane that he comes across almost sane. Because like when he was
like a Thanos almost.
Yes. So exactly. So when he was talking in front of that, the portrait of the World War I. I was watching his tone and cadence, and like I said, the actor does a really good job.
Yeah.
But just in general, if you listen to what he's saying, he is completely sold out to his mission.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what you see, that intensity or just the nonchalantness in killing his, like, I would say, one of his top 3 generals or what have you.
Yeah.
Like, and not think anything about it because he's sold out to, and that's why I really enjoyed that interaction with him and Talos there, because that's what Talos was kind of giving the impression of. He didn't want him to go that far with everything.
Right.
But like I said, I'll make a prediction about Talos a little bit later as well too.
All right, and then we get to what you talked about, Adrian, kind of the end scene, right? Priscilla. Now, she'd got a phone call earlier in the show too that we didn't really hear what was going on, and she kind of acted a little suspicious.
Yeah. She got the what I call the side piece call.
Yeah.
So basically, when somebody answers that phone like that, and to all that see that, if you are ever in a relationship or around somebody and they answer the phone like that, you need to leave or ask immediate questions right then and there that you need to get answers to.
Yep. You need to run away. Just don't do it on a motorbike like Guy.
Right. Well, especially when you hear what she says, you too.
Yes.
You too means that somebody on the other side said, I love you. And she said, you too.
Right. Yeah. So she got something going on.
Yeah.
And then, but the scene you were talking about, she leaves, right? She gets a call, and she goes to the bank, nice big old safety deposit room, like you said, pulls out the gun, nothing else. And then while she's in there, she gets another phone call, and I forget exactly what he said. You remember what he says?
Oh, he said to go somewhere.
Yeah, you go such and such place. Go to, I can't remember.
Yeah.
But then she says, I want to speak to Graphic. And he said, no, you'll speak to me.
Yes.
You'll deal with me now.
And I don't know about you guys or anybody else watching. To me, that voice sounded a lot like Don Cheadle, who plays Rhodey.
And Adrian, you just put this in my head. That now this is actually kind of going off on a tangent a little bit, but it does kind of make sense. That what if that I think that first call was Rhodey as well too. What if all this time that, remember, he's Fury's been gone with the blip, and then Fury went to the space station. What if Don Cheadle has been the side piece all this time?
Yeah, and
he's a Skrull, so they have a different dynamic than if he's a Skrull, she's a Skrull, and then they're both. Yeah, so, and that's so I think that's kind of something that may play out of this.
Yeah.
But the like I said, the actual part of me was like, or are we going to do this double agent type of thing? Mm-hmm. But I really think, like I said, it can't be as laid out as they're just kind of laying it in front of us right now. So there's going to be some twists and turns to it. But I definitely think that Don Cheadle or Rhodey has a lot to do with everything at this point.
Now, I agree with what you said earlier. I do believe he's the one gathering all this DNA, because who else is going to have that level of access? And then if he's a Skrull, of course, he'd have that level of access, number one, and then he'd want to give it to Gravik. So it's kind of like you need someone that has that access and someone who's willing to pass the stuff over to someone like Gravik.
And like I said, somebody that's in the government.
Yeah.
But it's also, again, not a top character, but not a small character either.
Right. Yeah.
Hey, have you guys seen Den of Thieves?
No.
With the guy that played 300 or 500 and Ice Cube's son?
No.
So anyway, O'Shea Jackson Jr.
Yeah.
So anyway, so why am I bringing up Den of Thieves? So in Den of Thieves, Ice Cube's son, O'Shea Jackson, he played this driver, right? And he presented himself to this crew where this guy, he was like the dominant thief, and they were gonna rob this bank or something, right? Come to find out at the end, the driver, right? He was the man on top orchestrating this entire thing. everybody thought it was that main thief that was doing, orchestrating everything, but it really was this guy in the background. He fed him the bank information. He laid out all the plans, everything. He even set himself up kind of like as the least important person in the whole crew. And in the end, he got away and everybody else died. All right.
Got it.
So what if this is a situation like Don Cheadle or Rhodey, right? The Skrull, he's the man actually at the top, and Gravik is just a guy in front rolling everything out for the Rhodey Skrull. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think no, I don't think you're far off. But what if you took out Rhodey and stuck Talos in that same situation?
Yep.
Because that's where my spoiler-free or I'm about
prediction.
to spoil or prediction is Talos. I think he's orchestrating this whole thing.
Because he was the original general, right?
Yeah,
exactly,
he was. Yep.
Adrian. And like with spies and everybody that's a spy doesn't know everybody else that's a spy.
Right.
So again, he could let these events go a certain way. And now I'm interested, obviously, what the next episode is going to show. But now we're going to supposedly see his wife is dead.
Right.
His daughter is dead. We didn't see his wife die.
Nope.
And then, we just saw his daughter die. But would it be a fair consensus to say that we don't necessarily believe that she may be that she is dead? Like I said, for me, I think possibly. But it is some doubt that's there.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, because here's the thing about Talos so far that still we don't know the truth about is his wife being killed.
Yep.
We don't know when it happened, why it happened, who did it. All we know is that Talos told Gaia, he didn't even name Gravik. He said the people that you're with, basically, I don't know if he said he didn't say they killed her. He said they kind of had something to do or caused it or something. It was very vague. And I mean, when something's that vague in a show, it's intentional, right? So there's more to it. So dude, hey, I'm not ruling that out. I don't think that that's a crazy prediction. I could see, because I don't fully trust Talos. I think he could be up to something.
Right.
Another thing about Priscilla, which we didn't mention, was you remember earlier in the episode, she got into this little argument with Nick Fury.
And
she talked about number one, and it kind of builds off of your point about Rhodey being the side piece over there, right? War Machine throwing on that suit and catching no girl's eye. I guess that that War Machine suit got her going. But she had said to him, like, she was pissed about the fact that she already grieved him once, right, through the blip, thought he was dead, legit, and then she's like, then you come back and then you leave again, right? And then now you're going out to do this stuff again. Like, what? You're just going to leave me here and I'm going to grieve for you for the third time?
5 years dead and I'm not going to get any. And then you come back after I was thinking you're dead. And as she said, I was thinking we're going to put this thing together and up you go.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of things. Somebody's going to go find a side piece in that.
Yeah. Well, there it is. Hey, maybe Priscilla and Rhodey are the two behind everything.
Could be.
Could be.
Or Priscilla and Talos.
True.
Yeah.
Damn, Talos, dude. You're playing Nick dirty like that.
I just think that, like, the way that everything is being presented at this moment is like you guys were seeing, and obviously that Gravik is the general.
Yeah.
I think he's going to end up being just a sold out, crazy, insane Super Skrull. And it's somebody like both of you guys have met. It is somebody behind. For me, I think it's Talos, but it's somebody behind the scenes that's running this whole show.
Yeah.
Obviously, it could be Rhodey, but like I said, I think he's in a coma on some planet with electricity going through his mind.
Yeah, he's in one of those pods somewhere. I agree. So, well, dude, that was the episode. I thought it was my favorite one out of all of them. I thought it was a little short. It's probably my only critique. I'm looking forward to next week. I'm looking forward to us being right about more things here on Only Comments. That's what we do, Adrian.
That's what we do.
Absolutely. Any last thoughts, either one of you guys?
Well, I wanted to kind of go back to something Ed was saying earlier. Ed, you said that you would like to see that Superman animation turn into a movie, and Mike and I, we had a discussion when we talked earlier about who were the more powerful characters across all comics. He came up with his, I came up with Franklin Richards, and we kind of decided that it would be almost impossible because they do such an uneventful job creating certain types of characters, like Dark Phoenix. They can never get her right, things like that.
Never.
So there's a level at which
Apocalypse.
it wouldn't even make sense to make movies about certain characters, like a Superman 1000, Franklin Richards, Dr. Manhattan. They pooch screwed him.
Oh my God.
There's a different level of Thor called a Rune King Thor.
Yeah.
He's like a super level above God kind of a Thor. So these people, these characters.
Your doppelganger. There's your doppelganger, the Maestro Hulk.
Right, the Maestro Hulk. These characters are so above super, comic book characters that they shouldn't even make a movie about them. Now, I'm not saying that they can't pop in for like a couple of seconds, within an existing show, but you can't make a show about them because they're just too powerful.
Or build a story
to convey in the movie around somebody like that. I don't think successfully.
Or build a story arc around them like you did with Thanos.
Yeah, you'd have to give it the Thanos treatment, which is going to take a long time.
I'm on an Adrian level when it comes to what they did to my Apocalypse movie.
Oh God,
that's the worst movie in MCU to me. I detest that movie.
Yeah,
absolutely detest it.
Yeah, they screwed it. To your point of Dark, I mean, I love Dark Phoenix in the comics, and I think the animated series did a phenomenal job of adapting that. But yeah, it's like, and I wouldn't say. I think I'm not there, Adrian, with you where it's can't. I mean, if they do it the way they've been doing these other movies, they can't. But to your point about the Thanos treatment, but then again, that took 10 years to build. Yeah. And I think they're just so much, they just want to rush everything, right? They want like, I mean, that was the DCEU's problem. They want to go from, Man of Steel to Justice League in 15 minutes. Like, dude, slow the fuck down for a minute. We need to find out who Flash is, who Green Lantern is, who is this Batman, how do they all connect? Like, you just can't have it all happen within 15 minutes. Thanos was built over a decade, so we were able to I guess really see his power, and I just don't think they have the patience. I mean, Apocalypse was a disaster.
Just a disaster.
You should have just named him a different character and made him up for the film and just have some
or just
guy
not do the movie. Like, not
that'd
do
have been better.
The movie, because that was an abomination.
Or don't even call it Dark Phoenix. Just say Jean Grey got sick and got some other power. Like, it wasn't Dark Phoenix because it's not on that level. But yeah, I enjoyed
some of the X-Men movies, but
I love the X-Men movies.
Yeah, but I was not a fan of Apocalypse.
So anyway,
yep.
It just reiterates our point, and I think we can end on this. Again, Marvel, DC, talk to us, dude. We know what we're talking about. We got you. I won't even charge you, bro. Just shout out the podcast a little bit, man. Get us some subscribers. We won't even charge you for now. We get a little bigger. I mean, now's the time to get in, So, but no, all jokes aside, appreciate you guys doing this. We kind of moved it around. Adrian, you're remote. We're doing it on a different day. I mean, y'all don't know because we drop it on the same day. But this was fun, and we'll be back at you next week with episode 12, where we're reviewing the 4th episode of Secret Invasion. And then we're at the halfway point. So halfway through, I'm still enjoying the show. I'm still intrigued, and even though we've made a bunch of predictions, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know where the end's going. And I like that. I think a lot of times, like, you get into one of these shows and it's like 2 episodes in, you can predict the ending, and then it's not fun anymore. So I kind of like where this thing is going. Adrian, thanks, dude.
Yeah, no problem, man. Always.
Ed, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thank you for the invite, Mike. Really appreciate it, brother.
Absolutely, guys. So, hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing, downloading. Thanks for talking shit to us in the comments. That's always good, too. But we appreciate you guys checking us out, and we will be here next week on Only Comics, where we discuss comics and only comics.
Like and subscribe. Hit the
subscribe button so you can hear all of our updates, all of our predictions, all of our borderline spoilers, because we know what the fuck we're talking about sometimes. We'll see you.